Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. And today, the Nottingham Forest preview, first game of the season tomorrow. And I am buzzing for it. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. I mean, it'd be a miracle if we do get there by tomorrow, but stranger things have happened. Smash a like on the video as well if you enjoy it. And I hope you're all well. The end of the week, it's a Friday. It has been a wild Friday in the world of football with carnage in the transfer market. And kind of makes you forget that it all kicks off tonight. In 3 hours' time, Burnley against Man City kicks off. But it's good to see lots of you here. Vivi, Vlad, Dominic, Andreas, Fat Tony, Ibrahim, Absolute Cack, Young Star, Liam, Sam, Simplify, Ethan, William Sully back with the Community Shield, Ross Lawman, and Churms, good to see you. I do hope you're all doing well. I hope you've had a good week. God, there's loads of you. I can't read out all your names. It'll just be the whole stream. But look, we'll get through the housekeeping first, the sort of news, transfer news around Arsenal today. Been a while since I've been on your live. Well, it is good to have you back. It is good to have you back. So the first thing, Charlie Patino loan deal to Swansea was announced today. Swansea announced it with a clip of Mo from EastEnders, which was an interesting way to do it. But I think that's a good loan for him. Look, he comes back next summer with a year left on his contract, and he's been persuaded by Arteta to stay and that he has a future at the club. And look, there is no one better than Declan Rice for Charlie Patino to start learning off next season. So I think it's fantastic. Next up, Jorginho. There has been talk of Jorginho leaving, various rumours of Besiktas potentially, Saudi potentially, but his agent, João Santos, said today, I am sure Jorginho will stay at Arsenal. He's happy in England. Let's move on. He said, I had some calls from Saudi and also some Spanish clubs like him, but he's staying at Arsenal. It is decided. So Jorginho is going nowhere this summer, which is good. I do think he's an important part of the depth of the squad at Arsenal. So it's good that he's staying. Thomas Partey. Juventus have approached Thomas Partey's camp with new talks after the sale of Denis Zakaria to Monaco. Look, they sold him for 20 million. They sold Zakaria for 20 million. They believe that they can basically get Thomas Partey for a similar amount. It's not going to happen. Arsenal's position hasn't changed. £40 million or Partey stays. It's one to keep an eye on, but I'm not expecting anything significant. I do think that, look, ultimately, Partey is a significant part of Mikel Arteta's plans for next season. So I'm not worried about it at all. Someone said Raya signed 8 minutes ago. Raya signed 15 minutes ago. The deal for David Raya is done. It's not been announced yet, but the deal for David Raya is done, which is good. The question actually is whether or not it got done in time for him to be in the squad tomorrow. Remember, it had to be done by midday for him to be in the squad tomorrow, so we actually don't know. Barricade the door, don't let Partey leave. Well, so this is the interesting thing, right? So supposedly Arsenal still have him valued at 40 million. I'd actually value him more highly than that. If he was worth 40 million at the start of the window, then by now he's worth more. You see teams across the board, the closer you get to the end of the window, the more expensive the player becomes because you've started to build your season around that player. And I certainly think we're building around Thomas Partey, or at least building around the idea of having Thomas Partey at the club for this season. So I don't think Juventus have the money for it. It's as simple as that. I don't think Juventus can afford him. Are you on the football terrace again? Next Monday, I think I will be. I think for me, it's mainly Mondays and Thursday evenings on the Top 6 show. But if you watched it last night, I hope you enjoyed it. It was good fun. Raya unveiling at the Emirates, yes, please. Well, that's what we might get. We might get an unveiling at least tomorrow at the Emirates. Shout out to all of you that are going to the Emirates. I will be there. I will be there. Entered the ballot as well this morning for the Tottenham game. If you're a Red member, ballot is open for the Spurs game from now until Monday. So make sure you get involved in the ballot if you want a ticket. Probably not going to get one. I'm probably not going to get one, but you never know. The luck might be on your side. Following Balogun Remember yesterday when I said that there was this silly rumour of Tomiyasu and Balogun going one way and Barella coming the other way? Apparently, Inter Milan didn't take too kindly to that. And according to Alfredo Pedula, Inter Milan have withdrawn from the race for Balogun altogether. The decision has been communicated to Arsenal and the player. So Balogun to Inter Milan is off. Which is quite funny because obviously he had been doing a bit of twerking for Inter Milan, and that is not going to happen. I would imagine he will not be wishing Marcus Thuram happy birthday next year. Where can I watch the Football Terrace? Just on YouTube. If you search on YouTube, the Football Terrace, it was last night's show. It's called the Top 6 show. So he wished Thuram a happy birthday for no reason? Yeah, absolutely. Which is just a bit embarrassing. And then finally, Mohamed Kudus. Ajax gave Mohamed Kudus a 48-hour deadline to complete the transfer to Brighton. That 48-hour deadline has expired. This doesn't automatically mean that he'll stay, but it does mean Ajax won't agree easily on another deal with Brighton, and with each passing day, Kudus' transfer value will go up. And that is true. Ajax... The longer it goes through the season, particularly once the season has started, Ajax add more and more to the cost of players. You saw it with United last year with Antony. They could have got him for about 50 million at the start of the window, and it ended up costing them 80 million. Which means, look, if Arsenal are going to go in for him ourselves, his value is increasing, and how much we'd have to pay to get him is increasing, but he is still on the market. And they also said Ajax, or someone close to Ajax, said they do expect Kudus to leave next week. They do think there will be movement next week and that Kudus will end up moving. Now, I think Chelsea are out of the equation with the absolute carnage that's been happening today. I think Chelsea are out of the equation. So it's between Brighton and Arsenal. And obviously Brighton are going to have this big influx of cash, which I think puts them in the driver's seat if they want him. Apparently Brighton are now in for Tyler Adams as well. When does the window shut? 11 p.m. on the 1st of September, I believe. Have we officially been linked with Kudus? Not like massively. It's been one of those ones where it's Kudus is appreciated by the club more than a proper link to him. And we'll go into Arteta's press conference today where he talks about potential future signings this summer. Brighton getting 110 million helps Ajax to demand more. It does. It helps everyone to demand more, to be fair. Thoughts on the Caicedo saga? All right, we'll get into it. We'll get into the Caicedo saga. Crazy. One of the craziest sagas I've seen. Chelsea were in a one-horse race for months. Couldn't agree a deal. They kept, I think the maximum they'd actually bid before last night was 80 million. And Brighton were holding out for 100 million. Now, Brighton were only holding out for 100 million because Declan Rice went for 105 million. And Chelsea were refusing to do it. But the danger when you're in a one-horse race is that the longer you're in that one-horse race for, a second horse can come along. And out of nowhere, last night, Liverpool bid 110 million, which is crazy. I said on the Top 6 show last night on the Football Terrace, I really didn't expect Liverpool to come in with that sort of money, but they did, and it was accepted. And, according to Ornstein, personal terms weren't going to be an issue. Which, by the way, that means 100% Liverpool had spoken to Caicedo and Caicedo's camp, and they had said, yeah, if it gets agreed, Caicedo is open to moving to Liverpool. Because they would never have bid the money if they weren't confident that Caicedo would agree to the terms. So they'd 100% had the news that Caicedo would agree to the terms, and then this morning, it all flipped on its head again. Caicedo was meant to be going to Liverpool for a medical. He was still in London because he'd been preparing to do a medical with Chelsea. And I think, and no one really knows, I think Chelsea must have got in contact with Moises Caicedo's camp and said, we'll pay more. We'll pay more. Hold off on going to do the medical. We'll pay Kudus more. We'll pay you, the agents, more. And we will we'll put a bid in with Brighton. There's no way otherwise that the drama would have happened. And then so the latest is that Caicedo is going to be going to Chelsea. Now, apparently, Moises Caicedo has been advised by people close to him to cut ties with Manuel Sierra, his agent, because apparently the fee that his agent is going to get from Chelsea is astronomical. If he goes to Chelsea, his agent is going to make a ton more money, and therefore the advice that he's giving to Caicedo is not necessarily in Caicedo's best interest. And look, some people would argue, and I would argue, Liverpool's a better club for Caicedo to go to. They're in Europe. The addition of Caicedo to Liverpool, in my opinion, comfortably gets them back into the Champions League next season. And it's a more well-run club with a better history. Whereas if he goes to Chelsea, it's just a mercenary move. And you never know. Look, Chelsea are crazy. You know, Chelsea had done a medical with Tyler Adams and agreed a fee with Tyler Adams, and then suddenly they've just thrown that deal in the bin because they're focused on Caicedo. They're absolute savages. They don't care about the players. They don't care about the people they're dealing with. And long term, I don't think for anyone, if they've got the option to go to an Arsenal, a Liverpool, a City, that's a far better option than going to Chelsea. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. I think in all honesty, I think it's better for Arsenal that he goes to Chelsea. I think Liverpool are far closer to Arsenal next season than Chelsea are, and Caicedo would massively have improved that Liverpool lineup and is exactly what they need. So I actually think for Arsenal's prospects next season, it's actually a good thing if he does go to Chelsea, but obviously we'll see what happens. And the crazy thing is, it's completely overshadowed Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich. Like, one of the best Premier League strikers in history, one of the best English strikers in history, in his prime, going to Bayern Munich, like that should be what everyone is talking about. And this saga has just completely undermined it, and no one's really even talking about it. So it's been a crazy day. And look, the great thing as an Arsenal fan, as maybe boring as some people might think it is, we just get to sit back and relax. You've got Arteta in a press conference today. I mean, Klopp in a press conference this morning thought the deal was done. He actually said in the press conference, a fee has been agreed, which is crazy. That doesn't normally happen. And you can tell, you know, even in Arteta's conference today, where David Raya is 100% done, even still, because it's not been announced, Arteta, when he was asked about David Raya, just said, I have no news. So it's crazy. The whole thing is crazy. And look, getting our business done early has massively paid off. And by the way, can you imagine if we had missed out on Declan Rice and he'd gone to City and we had kind of gone, well, you know, we missed out on Rice, but we'll go and get Caicedo. We could have been in a position where it's us involved today trying to deal, you know, with Chelsea and potentially Liverpool the day before our first game of the season, panicking. So we've done fantastically well to avoid that situation, and it's very good for the club. So look, getting into the game tomorrow, that's kind of all of the news ticked off. Getting into the game tomorrow, obviously Arteta had his press conference today. He said, I'm super excited. I think it's a new challenge and a new opportunity. We're fresh, ready to start again, and we're excited to play our first game at home as it's been a while. He was asked if the expectations at the club have changed after last season. He said yes. The reality is that in football, you have to be at your best on the day. It's only about today and tomorrow and playing the way we want to play to increase the probability of winning the game, and we have to earn the right to do that. He loves that phrase. He loves the phrase, we have to earn the right to do that. He uses it all the time. Asked about David Raya, he said, I have no news, which is fair enough, but it is done. On wanting the highest possible competition for places in every area of the pitch, obviously alluding to the fact that we didn't necessarily need David Raya, but we've brought in that incredible level of competition. He said that's what we're trying to do. Increase the depth of the squad and the quality as well. The ability to be more flexible, have more quality and more interaction with the players that can make us better. That is the whole point. He was asked on the challenge of keeping all of those players happy. He said, I think you have to treat everybody the same. That's important. You have to make them important, and in order to do that, they have to play football matches. Football is a collective sport. and only 11 players play. There are another 11 players most of the time that are not happy with the situation. It's how you deal with that and how they accept their role because it's going to change. Every 3 days we'll have a game, and that's something that will change. It'll tell you a lot about the human being and the professional when you're playing and when you are not. What is your actual contribution to the team? He was then asked if we'll bring anyone else in this window. Now, that's the question, right? Are we going to bring in anyone else? He said at the moment, we're not planning to do that. We're not planning anything, but the window is very unpredictable and things can happen that probably we don't wish for. So at the moment, we're happy with what we've got. That's interesting. Things can happen that we probably don't wish for. To me, that suggests that if a player leaves, like Thomas Partey, they have to come back and get a replacement for him. Hi says, sorry I'm late. Did you see me on the Football Terrace yet? I did, and I appreciated your support in the comments on the Football Terrace. I did appreciate that. JB, I'll get into my fantasy team after I've gone through this. I will talk about it, don't worry. You can stop putting it in the chat. Sorry I'm late. Sorry I have I have lost a lot of streams lately. No problem. I appreciate you being here. And has the Champions League groups been announced yet? No, not yet. Champions League group stages have not been announced. When Jesus could be back. Oh, so he was asked about current injuries. He said, I think everybody is going to be available. Mo El Neni is still out, and we have Gabriel Jesus, who still has an injury, but the rest should be fine. Which means Jorginho is back, Zinchenko is back. Am I forgetting anyone that missed the Community Shield? I think it was just those two, right? And then Jesus and El Neni. So everyone is back, and that makes it difficult to pick a squad, which we'll talk about. We'll build a squad together in a minute. He was asked when Jesus could be back. He said it's still a bit early. It's been less than 2 weeks since his operation. He's doing really well. And next week, hopefully, we can start doing some activity. But it's something where we're going to be cautious to make sure that he comes back in the right way. So I guess as good a news as you could hope for. He was asking on starting with a home game. He said, we love playing at the Emirates. We love playing in front of our people, yada, yada, yada. Whether we have the confidence to mount another title challenge. He said, if we're starting on the first fixture, thinking about the championship, we're burning our energy. We have to focus on doing what we have to do to earn the right to win the matches. There you go, earn the right to win again. And that's it. We go game by game. And that's good. You don't want to be thinking about next season already. Oh, yeah, Reece. He didn't mention Reece. That's a good point. He didn't mention Reece, which presumably would suggest that he is available. Either he's forgotten him or I've forgotten him. So one way or the other. He asked what he takes into consideration when selecting a striker. Interesting. He said, first of all, how they train. That's a dig at Balogun. If ever I've heard it, that's a dig at Balogun. I think the state that they're in and the feeling that I have with them, how they react to certain decisions as well, I think is really important. This is basically saying Balogun isn't going to be playing, and these are the reasons. How does he train? How does he react to certain decisions? I think that's exactly what he's getting at there. And then building relationships regarding the opponent's qualities and that setup that can power our qualities to help us win the game. £2 super chat from Daniel Dangerfield. Thank you very much, Daniel. He says, surely Timber over Zinchenko at left back. We'll get into it, but yes, for me, tomorrow, Timber over Zinchenko would be the one. He was asked on the energy levels at London Colney after winning the Community Shield. He said, winning is the first energy booster that exists. It was great. Everyone is so happy. It raised the confidence and showed everyone what we can do. But there is still an understanding that we must do much better. We must play much better. And the Forest game is going to be a completely different story. He was asked on his take about the new rules on stoppage time, which generally speaking, I think benefit us. He said, I understand that we needed to tweak certain rules and what the referees in the association have done to try and improve the quality of the game that we see is a really positive thing. I think there are things that we have to get used to, work on them and adapt. Overall, that new added time is beneficial for Arsenal. On what the current Arsenal side can learn from the Invincibles, he said, I think when it comes to the Invincibles, they will be the only ones. The way they did it, it was in their own way. We have to write our own chapter of history, which will be very different, but hopefully very beautiful as well. And then, I mean, this is a hell of a long conference. He was asked on transfer interest in following Balogun. He said, I'm not talking about internal things. Day-to-day training with players potentially leaving. He said there are players that we have to look after them in the best possible way, and that they're treated in the best possible way. So I think, like, players like Tavares and Cedric and stuff, I think they're kind of training by themselves at this point. If I ever see Cedric in an Arsenal shirt again, I'll cry. Too much PTSD. I don't think you will. I don't think you'll ever see Cedric in an Arsenal shirt again, truthfully. T. Fisher says, Rory lad, are you at the Emirates tomorrow? I am. Clock end, upper tier. If you see me, say hi. What's your starting 11 for tomorrow? So here we go. Let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. Ramsdale in goal. Presumably, we all agree. We don't even know if Raya is going to be in the squad. So Ramsdale in goal. Right back, Ben White. Don't think anyone disagrees. The only way anyone disagrees with that is if you're starting Zinchenko at left back and think Timber gets in ahead of Ben White. But I don't think he does. So Ben White at right back. Saliba, Gabriel centre backs, no problem. So then your first question is, if Zinchenko is fit, does he come in and start straight away, or does Timber start? For me, Timber. Timber's had a full preseason. He's looked good. Forest isn't, respectfully to Forest, it's not the biggest challenge that he'll face. It's another good option and another good opportunity for him to learn and adapt with the Arsenal squad. So I would start Timber at left back. There's no point rushing Zinchenko back, in my opinion. AFC BFC says Tommy at right back. Genuinely, Tomiyasu's the third choice right back. Did you not see him? Did you not see him against Monaco playing at right back with Fabio Vieira ahead of him? It was awful. It was awful. So that's the back four for me. It's White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber. Midfield. This is again a tricky one. Effectively, Ødegaard starts, right? No one's going to question that. Ødegaard starts. Then the question is, out of Partey, Rice, and Havertz, which two start? Do you go the same as the Community Shield and go Partey and Rice? Do you go Partey and Havertz? Do you go Rice and Havertz? For me, I think I would go Partey and Rice. And I actually don't think it needs to be Partey and Rice. I think that's almost a heavier, more defensive midfield than we actually need against Forest. But I think ahead of a game... So I'm looking at the future fixtures, right? And I'm seeing United in 4 games' time. And for that game, it needs to be Rice and Partey. And I don't want that to be only the second time that Rice and Partey have played together. So for me, I would use this game, even though I don't think it needs to be them, to play those two together. So I'd go Partey as the 6, obviously. Rice as the 8, Ødegaard. Saka right wing, no arguments. And then I would argue there is an argument at left wing between Martinelli and Trossard. And this one I'm keen to know. So I think most of you seemingly agree with Partey and Rice. Put it in the chat if you don't agree with Partey and Rice, but it looks like most of you agree with Partey and Rice. Trossard We're back. We're back. I apologize. I do apologize. My computer just completely shut down and restarted itself. Because why not? Why not? I appreciate all of you waiting, though. I appreciate all of you that have stuck around. I don't know why that happened. But anyway, you probably all put it in the chat before my computer shut down. Trossard or Martinelli? Trossard or... There's just a lot of people saying Frozen and RIP. Trossard starts at left... Are we back? Are we back? We're back. We're back. Right. I apologize. If it happens again, we'll call it a night and I'll just go and boil my own head. It's the full-on PC is just shutting itself down for no reason. I don't know if it's because it's too hot, but it shouldn't be. Anyway. Trossard or Martinelli at left wing? What are you going for? Trossard or Martinelli at left wing? For me, I'm going Martinelli. I'm sticking with him. I think for his confidence. I mean, look, he's just started a bit rusty, but he had a shorter preseason than everyone else because he was coming back from injury. But what I would actually do, because Trossard absolutely deserves to play, is I would play Trossard through the middle. So I would play Saka, Trossard, and Martinelli as the front three, which I think is the fairest way to do it. Now, of course, that does mean benching Kai Havertz, and some people say, oh, how could you spend £65 million on a player and then bench him? That's life. That's what it's like competing with Man City. You know, and when Man City spent 100 million on Grealish and benched him for a lot of his first season at the club, it was because he needed time to adapt. And I do think Kai Havertz is on a massive learning curve at the club and under Mikel Arteta. So apparently there's a tweet from Chris Wheatley that someone wants me to look at. I'm looking for the tweet from Chris Wheatley. David Raya's agent on Instagram stood in front of an Arsenal thing. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Sounded a bit like Mark Goldbridge. Good. Mark Goldbridge is a legend. Rory, why do players throw their toys out of the pram when a big club comes calling? And more importantly, why are these grown men sitting inside prams in the first place? Money, mainly. Money is the big thing for a lot of them. Anyone else think he went again? I hope not. I shouldn't have gone again. So that would be my starting lineup. So we've got Ramsdale in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Partey, Rice, Ødegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard. And then the difficult thing is building a bench. Because you've only got 9 spots on the bench. And with only Mohamed El Neni and Gabriel Jesus out injured, you've got to actually pick which players miss out on the squad. So Raya, obviously, is the keeper. And, well, either Raya or Runarsson or Hein. Ideally Raya if he's allowed to. So then you've got 8 spots. Now, typically the way we do it is 3 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 2 attackers. But I guess Kai Havertz is kind of going to come. Okay, it wasn't a full-blown meltdown. The page just broke. I have no idea what's going on at this point. I do apologize. I think I need to get a new PC. But look, so you've got, for me, the 3 defenders, Kivior, 100%, Zinchenko, 100%, and then you've basically got to pick between Tierney and Tomiyasu. So, and I'm intrigued to see what you would say, Tierney or Tomiyasu. I would assume everyone agrees on Kivior and Zinchenko. Tierney or Tomiyasu as the 3rd defender on the bench. Tierney. Andrew says Tierney. Tommy, according to AFC BFC, but the majority of people saying Kieran Tierney. Jake Madaford says Tom. What is going on? Whilst I think I would actually prefer it to be Tierney, I think Tomiyasu because he's more likely to stay. And also, if Timber comes off, Zinchenko comes on. Whereas Tomiyasu can cover multiple positions. So I think it's more likely 4 times, damn, more goals than Kai this year. I know, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I think I think it'll be Tomiyasu over Kieran Tierney, which is crazy because it means Kieran Tierney may not make it into the squad for the first time, which is nuts. Into the midfield, Jorginho, Kai Havertz, and I mean, I guess, again, it's tricky, right? Jorginho and Havertz will definitely be there. Do you take Smith Rowe? But if you think, right, so the two attackers, I would assume Eddie Nketiah will definitely be there. Which leaves you basically 2 spots. It basically leaves you two attacking spots with Fabio, Smith Rowe, and Reece Nelson not in the squad yet. So effectively, one of Fabio, Smith Rowe, and Reece Nelson doesn't get in. Can Raya play tomorrow? If he was registered by midday today, we don't actually know yet. So for you, what would you do if you had to drop one of Fabio, Smith Rowe? See, I think it will actually be Reece Nelson because we've not seen he wasn't in the squad at the Community Shield. Fabio Vieira was, Smith Rowe was. I think, and it also looks like they've been practicing that formation that we saw right at the end. You know the formation we saw at the end of the Community Shield with Fabio Vieira as the sort of right winger, Saka as the right forward, Trossard as the left forward. And Nketiah as the left forward. I think we're going to see more of that. Max Evans with the €250, a small contribution towards a new PC. Come on, you Gunners. Massive thanks, Max. Look, we'll get there. We will get there. We will get to the new PC one day. To be honest, what I actually really need is just a flipping brand to do it. Just one of those PC brands to come and give me a computer and I'll twerk for them on TikTok for a while. Vieira has to go, blood. He has to go, blood. I don't think he's going to. And look, I'm still willing to give him the chance. I'm still willing to back him and give him the chance. As much as he frustrates me, I'm willing to give him the chance. Raya is going to be revealed tomorrow before the game on the pitch, apparently. Yeah, I would expect so. So for me, that's the team. And so that kind of leaves you in this position where you've got Balogun, Tierney, Reece Nelson not making the team. How long have you been doing social media full-time for? So it was my full-time job doing it for a company when I started doing this stuff. I don't work for the company anymore, so I spend a lot more time doing the Rory Talks Football stuff, but I'm also doing some freelance stuff in the background just to pay the bills, because this does not pay the bills. Rory, have you only started the live? No, Tom. Tom, the live start at 5 p.m. every day. That doesn't change. The live stream might go down multiple times within that time, but it doesn't change that the live stream starts at 5 p.m. every day. So once again, you have missed. Nelson has to be on the squad, but then who do you take out? Who are you taking out? ESR Remontada season, just wait. Matt, I'm very much backing Emil Smith-Rowe. The Emil Smith-Rowe comeback it's happening. It's happening. Anyway, it's time for Guess the Guna, the game where I give you an ex or current Arsenal player's career path minus the Arsenal part of it, and you have to guess who that player is. First person to get it correct in the YouTube chat gets the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community and the wider footballing community. So get your fingers on your keyboards. If you're watching on TikTok and you want to get involved, the Instagram logo in my bio will take you to my YouTube. Get involved in the YouTube chat. By the way, if you're not already, please do subscribe. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. But this ex or current Arsenal player started their career at FC Metz. They went to Marseille. They went to Villarreal. They went to Aston Villa. They went to Manhoura. And they went to FC Goa. So Metz, Marseille, Villarreal, Aston Villa, Manhoura, and FC Goa. Who is the player? Who is the player? Someone's got it. Lots of people have got it. And the first person to get it correct, it is not Nacho Monreal. It's not Aubameyang. It's not Koscielny. But it is Ross Lawman who gets it correct first. It's Ross Lawman. It is Robert Pires. And Ross Lawman is back on top. There we go. Jake Madiford in second. Will Gunner in third. Ethan Udall in fourth. And Tom in fifth. But congratulations to Ross Lawman. Back on top. One of the OGs. And congratulations. Well done. Well done to Ross. Congratulations to him in the chat. Do you know what? I genuinely forgot he played for Aston Villa. He actually joined them mid-season. He joined them in November 2010, and he left that summer. He joined them on a free. But yeah, I completely forgot that ever happened. Are you sure it's not Saka? I'm certain. Drakkar says he was first. You weren't, Drakkar. Drakkar, you were genuinely not even top 5. Your last comment before Ross Lawman got it correct was, I think we have to score at least 4 or 5 goals against Nottingham. And then you were like 10th, I'll be honest. You were about 10th. So, I'm sorry. Do you think Saka will still be our pen taker, considering he took our 3rd pen after Trossard in the shootout? Yeah, because that's not how it works. That's not always how it works. You don't necessarily take your penalty shootout order doesn't go in order of best players. A lot of the time, the best player might actually take it 5th because it's the most high pressure one. I was first on my screen, but the delay robbed me again. Nothing new. Tears for Jake Madiford. I'm sorry, Jake. But yeah, no, I think the only time Bukayo Saka doesn't take penalties, in my opinion, is if Jorginho is on the pitch. If Jorginho is on the pitch, it's silly not to let him take the penalties. But otherwise, it would be Bukayo Saka. I also think Bukayo Saka's learning off Jorginho. Saka's penalty in that penalty shootout, he did slow down his run-up and then wait for the keeper to move and drag it the other way. It's a difficult technique. And he did it very well. It's like people forget Seaman and Vieira play for Man City as well. Yeah, people forget that Vieira and Yaya Toure both played for City at the same time. Like, they actually had a midfield of Vieira and Yaya Toure at the same time, which is crazy. Anyway, on to Guess the Non-Guna. This is where I give you a player that has not and does not play for Arsenal. I give you their full career path, and you have to guess who it is in the chat. I was first by a mile. I got so gassed, but the delay got me. I'm sorry, Tom. So this player that has not and does not play for Arsenal started at Ajax. He went to Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Galatasaray, Nice, and Al Gharafa. Ajax, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Galatasaray, Nice, and Al Gharafa. And someone has got it correct first in the chat, and it is Beast Destroyer who got it correct. Wesley Schneider. Congratulations to Beast Destroyer, Wesley Schneider. Second was Francisco Oliveira. Third was Jake Madaford. Fourth was Ross Lawman. And fifth was William Saliback with the Community Shield. So congratulations. Lots of people getting it correct in the TikTok chat as well. Shout out to you. And there you go. It was indeed Wesley Schneider. So there you go. Our two winners today were Ross Lawman and Beast Destroyer. Congratulations. What do we think? Burnley against Man City tonight. What are your predictions? What are your predictions for Burnley versus Man City tonight? I also said I will run you through my fantasy football team. In fact, let me bring up my fantasy football on here. I guarantee this is going to make the computer crash, isn't it? This is going to make the computer crash. If anything's going to make the computer crash, it's going to be this. Let me bring it up. Bring it up. Bring the action. Bang, 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 bang. There we go. Can you tell what it is yet? So there it is. There is my team. That is my fantasy football team ahead of tomorrow. What do we think? What do we think of it? The predictions in the chat: 4-1 to City, 3-1 to City, 3-2 to Burnley. You heard it here first, according to Jackson. 5-0 City, Man City, Haaland hat-trick. By the way, notice that I have captained Bukayo Saka and not Erling Haaland. Young Star says it's an awful team. Suit yourself, pal. I think it's a decent team. Look, I think João Pedro is a bargain, 5.5 million. I think he's going to start for Brighton. I think Brighton don't spend 30 million quid on a player and not start him. He's also taking their penalties. In a pre-season game where Pascal Gross, who was their penalty taker last season, both of them were on the pitch and João Pedro took the penalty. I'll be honest, until last night I had Harry Kane in the team. So I had to rejig it today. Brought in Ollie Watkins. Obviously the bench, Matt Turner on the bench. Anderson, who I think is going to have a great season at Newcastle. Austin Trusty, who should start for Sheffield. And Rico Henry as well. All very cheap, very good options. I'll be honest, the only things that I'm really debating in the team, Saliba or Gabriel, both are 5 million. Bias Rory making Saka captain when Haaland is in his team. Do you know the reason I've done it? Do you know the reason I've made Saka captain and not Erling Haaland? Because there will be other Arsenal fans this weekend and over the course of the season that will be hoping for Erling Haaland to outperform Bukayo Saka. And this may well cost me points in FPL, but every weekend I want those Saka goals to mean even more. If you're watching on TikTok, this is my team. I've got Ederson in goal. I've got Estupinian, Chilwell, and Saliba as my 3 starting defenders. I've got Bruno Fernandes, Ødegaard, Saka, and Rashford. And then I've got Watkins, João Pedro, and Haaland as the 3 attackers. So I'm playing a 3-4-3 with Bruno, Ødegaard, Saka, and Rashford in the midfield. And then on the bench, I've got Turner, Anderson, Trusty, and Rico Henry. So there you go. And there's so many people. By the way, look how many people are in... This is the Rory Talks Football League. Look how many people are in this league. It's crazy. I don't know if you can actually see the total number, but it's crazy. There's no way of even seeing the number. Basically, it's there are over 2,000 of you currently in the Rory Talks Football League, which is crazy. In fact, there's over 4,000 of you in the league now. because the cup is scheduled to start in game week 26, which means there's between 4,097 and 8,100. And that only just ticked over, but that's crazy. Over 4,000 of you in the league. The code for it is... there. MDH, M for Michael, DH, 9G for girth, Q for quit. MDH, 9GQ, all lowercase. So there you go. That's the code to join. And there we go. That is the fantasy team. Put it in the chat. Yeah, that's a good idea, Tom. I'll put it in the chat. MDH9GQ. Lowercase. Saka usually starts slowly in seasons in terms of goals and assists. Wouldn't captain, in my opinion. I agree with you. I do agree with you, except this pre-season, he's looked good. I think he's looked quite sharp. See you at the game tomorrow, Rorington? Yes. We have almost the same team. I have one more defender and one less striker. Fair enough. Can't wait to walk this league. Look, shout out to any of you that are regulars on YouTube or on TikTok. If you get in the top 100 at the end of the season, then shout out to you, because it's going to be difficult. It is going to be difficult. Who will be our best player in the UCL? Good question. I mean, the UCL shouldn't be much different to the standard league, but I don't know. I just feel like Saka's just going to have an unbelievable season, you know? I keep predicting him as going to be the player of the season in the Premier League, so I'd have to say Bukayo Saka. Will you be live tomorrow? Yeah, so the plan is, because I'll obviously be at the game, but it's a lunchtime kickoff. So to be honest, depending on how quickly I can get home, I should be live at 5 tomorrow. Although, yeah, I'll be live at 5, and then there will be a game at 5:30. The evening kickoff is Newcastle against Villa, right? Which should be a good game. So I'll try and be live at 5 tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be talking about what a fantastic win it was for Arsenal. But there you go. That is going to be the end of the stream. As always, I massively appreciate all of you for tuning in. Apologies for the technical issues throughout it as well. I really hope that they don't continue. Have a fantastic evening. I mean, look, imagine Burnley get anything out of the City game. It would be absolute limbs. And other than that, have a great night. Enjoy the game tomorrow. And I will catch you all tomorrow evening for another one. Goodbye.